Hi, everybody. Thanks for coming and joining us today. I'm Joe. I'm joined by Bev. And today we wanted to kind of zoom in on how to recognize the signs of unhealed trauma, particularly early attachment issues, how to identify them in your current relationships right now, whether you're with someone or not. What are some of the signs that can lead you to start understanding that this isn't just about what's happening right now, that there is something deeper that's driving these patterns, and what can I start to do to get a handle on them? So for example, if you're finding yourself blowing up with your partner because of something trivial, where your response to the event is completely not matching the event itself, there's something else going on there. And so, Bev, I'd like to just kind of check in with you and see do you have any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I love that. And before we were speaking, we said maybe we would bring in some examples of what we've seen in our work. And just this week, the trauma that came up for one of my clients, he's in a wonderful relationship. The trauma is with the relationship with himself, the most intimate circle. So, for instance, he was cooking some meat and he burnt it. And he said to me, I just became so angry with myself. And he said it seemed out of proportion. Like, why am I? It's not like I always burn the meat, but why did I do it this time? And at the same time, I left something outside and it started raining. And what we worked on was that angry voice and that judgmental voice that was very familiar to him from a much younger place. Because we don't know to be judgmental, that he botched up, right? So we spoke about where that had come from, and what had actually happened in his week is that his parents had come for a visit, and he felt the whole time he was
Yeah,
looking for his mother in this visit.
yeah.
There were so many people around who wanted to see her that he said, I felt like I was a little boy competing again for her attention, and unvalidated, and in some ways humiliated. And this whole incident with the meat, which, as you say, it looks trivial, but it's not trivial. The response is not trivial. The response is simply not present. It's not
Yeah.
with what's actually happened now. It's a trigger for something that happened at a younger place. That's where you learn your critical voice.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
one of the things that I so work on with him is to hold himself tenderly, not only with him, to hold ourselves tenderly and compassionately when we screw up, because it's not about being perfect. It's really about being human.
Yeah.
And we
Yeah.
all botch up. And that's okay. That's really okay.
Yeah.
What are
That's
your thoughts?
beautiful. No, I think um, I've encountered so many times where something that happened in someone's life when they were very young, 4, 5, 6 years old, um, we have a tendency to think, oh, that's just a young, immature thing. I was a kid and that happened. Like that shouldn't affect me today, but it does. Because we trivialize it so much, we tend to keep saying to ourselves that I couldn't possibly still be that young, immature kid, when it's not about immaturity, as if that's a pejorative bad thing. The immaturity is just the absence of that thing being able to progress and mature. And trauma does that. And so when we're having that fight with our spouse, when we're blowing up against our boss, we're not doing it as our idealized adult selves. We are doing it as that 4-year-old. And I remember one of my clients, we started to uncover a deep memory of, my client was eating somewhere at a restaurant with his mother, and the mother asks, do you want more of this? And my client says, no, I don't want any more. And the mother gives him more anyway. So what, right? But if we really look at what happened there, the client clearly stated boundary and request to his caregiver, his primary caregiver, and it was ignored, and in fact was violated. And these are such happy terms, right? Oh my God, it's such a trivial thing, but it wasn't trivial, because what that did was it broke trust. And then forevermore, whenever somebody does something for this client without asking first, without checking in first, my client flies into a rage. And so in his relationships, when someone gives him a gift, oof, all of it comes up again. Why did you give me that? I don't want that. Don't you know I have boundaries? Did you even check if I wanted that? Okay, where did that voice come from? That's 20 years of wishing he could have said that to his mother during that moment. And he didn't, because he couldn't.
Right. Right. And I love that.
This is how deep it goes.
It's what?
Yeah.
Sorry.
This is how deep it can go.
Absolutely. And I love that reminder of that sometimes when we're in a relationship, something gets triggered and we talk from a younger place.
Yeah.
And that younger place, as Terry Real calls it, our adaptive child. That child is not interested in relationship at this point. He's interested in black and white. I'm right, you're wrong. I want to protect myself.
Yeah.
Our adults, we can be all arguing as 3-year-olds. Our adults have gone out for coffee. But when we come in, that's the adult who's interested in relationship and intimacy. And there are obviously ways to manage that as well when we are triggered. How do we come back into our adult self? Because the child is not interested in a relationship.
Right.
And that's what we often find. We're arguing with someone that we think is so much younger, right? And that when we're young as well, we don't have the skills to resolve this conflict, because children don't. And there's this harshness, there's no nuance that the adult has.
I love that, because so many times, right, we hear, oh my God, my partner is being so immature. But I mean, but that's gold right there. Okay, yeah, yes. They're expressing from a place that has not been able to mature. Actually, you're right about that. But I think we do need to start normalizing a bit and recontextualizing what is that immaturity, because it's not as likely that they're just willfully being childish. I think there's a greater chance that they're operating from a place that has been stunted at some point.
Exactly.
And is now expressing at the capacity that they can.
Beautiful.
And that's an opportunity to start looking there and start addressing that. Beautiful. Together, if possible.
Yeah, and you know what? It's not easy. I see my clients keep saying to me, you know, I was triggered and I again reacted in my automatic self. So that's because we haven't been taught this, and it's practice like anything else. It's like learning to ride a bicycle. Practice, practice, practice. Not to make because it makes you perfect, because it makes those 4-day arguments, narrows them down maybe to 2 days, to half an hour, when you have the skills, but they need to be made, you need to be made aware of your behavior, and then given the tools. Well, how do I change that? And that's a great topic that we'll get to.
Yes, absolutely.
Thank you, Joe. This is great, as always.
Thank you.